Hi, welcome to the first Gail's educational video. We're talking about regions, we're talking specifically about France today. The more you learn about wine, the more you learn that there's no rules. So this is a sweeping generalization, and we're going to go really fast and explain a little bit why France is so special. We're going to start in Champagne. Champagne is very high up, very northerly, and has a very similar climate to the UK. And what makes Champagne so special, apart from the history and amazing winemaking, is that they know that their climate is dreadful, and they reserve wine back from previous years to blend with current years. So this climate has become almost an advantage to them over time, and because they've got this consistency by blending old years with new years and getting that complexity and getting that house style or grower's style, means that they are leaps and bounds against the competition. Even though England makes some fantastic sparkling wines, France have got this know-how to deal with their region. We then go across to Alsace. Alsace has this little mountain range which protects it called the Vosges Mountains, which protects it from the rest of France, which arguably would not make it part of France, make it part of Germany, but that hill range is very important. It makes it the driest part of France. Even though it's very northerly, it shouldn't be that dry. It doesn't get any rainfall. It all hits that mountain range and then drops before it gets there. It's got loads of different soils. It's like a patchwork of different soils, and therefore they grow about 8-9 different grapes. Over here, it's kind of been remembered for kind of Gewürztraminers and kind of sweeter stuff, but they make amazing dry white wines, Rieslings, Pinot Gris, Pinot Blancs. Beautiful range of wines from Alsace and shouldn't be underestimated. Next up, we have Burgundy, the home of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. This includes Chablis right at the top, which makes a really dry version of Chardonnay, very minerally, very fresh, not like the creamy ones which are from the rest of Burgundy. Burgundy is very special because Chardonnay and Pinot Noir very much take upon the slopes, the soil, the climate which they're with, and so we've got dotted with these little appellations all the way through. That's heightened by the inheritance laws which are in Burgundy, which means that each of these appellations has kind of been split into smaller bits and bobs. There's masses to learn here and really fun to explore if you're into these sort of grapes. And the final bit of Burgundy is Beaujolais down the bottom, which grows a different grape called Gamay. Very light like Pinot Noir, very low in tannins, and a really great fun wine to explore, and one of my favourites. Leading on from Burgundy, it almost suddenly turns into the Rhone Valley. Now, the Rhone Valley is two wine regions in my book. When you travel from one to another, from Northern Rhone to Southern Rhone, there's a huge gap, and they grow completely different styles of wine. The Northern Rhone is very hilly and has this amazing wind coming off the Alps, which cools everything down, and as a result, it's very Burgundian in style, really. It's got that kind of small slope thing going on, but this time with Syrah, known as Shiraz in Australia. It pretty much solely makes that grape, although we have a hint of Viognier up in some appellations, maybe for white wine as well. But this is a wonderful kind of interesting kind of halfway house between Bordeaux style wines and Burgundy style wines, and is a really amazing thing to explore. And then you've got the Southern Rhone. It's still got that same wind, the Mistral wind, which cools and gets rid of all the bugs and keeps the temperature cool, but we've got this hot Mediterranean climate. So we've got grapes which love hot temperatures, Grenache, Syrah again, and Mourvedre, and they kind of all come along, but they've got that breeze to kind of make it like no other place does in the world. Loads of grapes kind of grown here. The famous appellation in this is Châteauneuf-du-Pape, which has these pudding stones, which, you know, accentuate the Southern Rhone thing by pushing the heat up into the vines and shielding them at night. Very special region, lots to learn there. And then that effectively is the same region as Provence. It's all connected. But Provence pretty much solely makes rosé wines, and probably the best rosé wines in the world. very dry, but got a bit of tannin in there. Not your playful fun rosés. This is serious stuff. Next up we have the Languedoc-Roussillon, which is right at the bottom. Think of this as the Wild West of France. There's no rules here. They make any grape they want, however they want. And as a result, there's some great value wines here, there's some excellent wines here, and there's an awful lot of stuff which you might want to avoid. There's lots to explore, and a really exciting region, which because of that more laxed nature has become really exciting to see new wines appear. A real exciting place to explore. Next we have Bordeaux, the daddy of wine regions. On the coast, so it gets a bit cooler, but realistically quite hot Mediterranean climate. What we have here is big wines, predominantly Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot, but we have other grapes which you shouldn't learn about in a video like this. But realistically, the finer ones have this kind of more elegant Cabernet Sauvignon style, and the big kind of more rounded versions are predominantly Merlot. And the location is very important in Bordeaux. The other important thing to know is that they make wines to age. The style, when young, comes across quite tannic, quite harsh to new palates, but when they're aged, they smooth out and have this wonderful kind of truffled, rich style which can't be replicated. The Loire is primarily a white growing region, very long river, goes practically 2/3 of the country. You can break it up into 3 parts, generally speaking. The bit by the river estuary is famous for Muscadet, which is a very dry, very fresh wine. On the far right of it, inland, we have the Sauvignon Blanc producing areas, most famously Puy-Fumé and Sancerre, which make this very lemony, very fresh, minerally style of Sauvignon Blanc, which is very unlike the New Zealand style, but very elegant. And in the middle, it's famous for Chenin Blanc, which is probably one of the few white wines which can age and makes for excellent dessert wines and excellent off-dry wines. So that's France in a nutshell. We've gone fast, we've taken liberties, but hopefully you've learned enough to explore new regions and try out some new stuff. We'll be going into more depth in these regions over time, hopefully, as well as other countries, so stay tuned.